Dark King Silver's Rayleigh, or the Mountain Eater Scopper Gaban. Two legendary Pirate King crew members. Honestly, if it's not Roger, these two are your strongest men. You heard what, of course, Roger said when he was fighting Odin. He said, I don't want you guys to fight. You guys are my strongest men. You guys are my top two guys. And now recently, Scopper Gaban, of course, being drastically injured, falling into the underworld, being saved by Chopper's guard point, has stated he's not the third strongest in the Roger Pirates. He's the second strongest. Obviously giving us Zoro and Sanji vibes, which they have been arguing about who's stronger since the beginning of One Piece. So honestly, it's good to see Oda actually do that parallel with Roger's top two guys in Rayleigh and Gaban. But let's just be honest here, guys. We've seen a decent amount of Silver's Rayleigh throughout the story, and we've seen a decent amount of Scopper Gaban throughout the story just because of Elbaf. Elbaf has been a Scopper Gaban arc, a Yasan arc. So today's video will be me discussing who I think is stronger between these two legendary pirate crew members. They're not captains. Yes, they are probably the strongest underlings I've seen in the series, and today I will discuss that. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notification, guys, because the quality is getting better this summer, and honestly the consistency is going to get better too, guys. You guys are noticing that more videos are coming out. There's that. Well, that's on purpose. That's for a reason. So when it comes to power scaling, you have to look at Silver's Rayleigh first, because he was first introduced. Yes, the Dark King Silver's Rayleigh was first introduced during the Sabaody arc, pre-time skip. And one of my favorite moments in the series is when Shaki's telling Luffy Rayleigh's 100 times stronger than you. Now Luffy at this time did some amazing things. He took down Crocodile, guys. He took down Enel. He went up against Rob Bellucci and Enies Lobby. And of course he took down Gecko Morio. Of course there was some little asterisks there, but still he definitely took down Gecko Morio and Oz Jr. That was a cool moment. So at this point, Luffy has a 300 million berry bounty, and he's considered a monster. And yes, Rayleigh just shits all over that by, of course, being 100 times stronger. Now this gets kind of confirmed later on in the series when, of course, Rayleigh's guy who we fought during Sabaody, Kizaru, they actually went toe-to-toe and it was pretty evenly matched. And of course, when Luffy saw Kizaru on Egghead Island, he told him, I'm 100 times stronger than I was during Sabaody. So it kind of confirms that Rayleigh was most likely Admiral level on Sabaody. So we kind of have a grasp of how strong Rayleigh is in the series, and there's other moments where he shows how strong he is in the series. Now, of course, we can also look at Silver's Rayleigh and Whitebeard. If we all don't remember, Garb said that we can't go against two legends right before the Marineford War. Speaking of, we don't want to anger Silver's Rayleigh. Now, Whitebeard, of course, was Yonko level, but don't forget, Whitebeard was very old. Yes, that made him Yonko level, but his sickness is what makes me think, is Whitebeard truly Yonko level? Had his sickness actually brought him down to Admiral level? That's a very controversial take, but you saw him against Akainu when pretty much having heart attacks mid-fight, Akainu taking off his face, Akainu, of course, putting Magma in his gut. Honestly, Akainu probably did the most drastic damage to Whitebeard, and he was an Admiral at the time. So a lot of people have been, of course, debating maybe Whitebeard was actually high-end Admiral level and not, of course, Yonko level at the time of Marineford because of his sickness. Because if Big Mom and Kaido saw that sick Whitebeard, I think they're smoking him, guys. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. Shanks obviously smoking him too as well. So yeah, this whole Yonko level thing, Whitebeard, that he kind of was the weakest Yonko because of how sick he was. If he wasn't sick, in my opinion, he would be the strongest Yonko, even with his old age. But because he was sick, it kind of brought him down, guys. I'm gonna keep it real. Then of course there's Rayleigh versus Kizaru. Rayleigh versus Kizaru was very toe-to-toe. Honestly, Rayleigh did some good stuff like cutting Kizaru's cheek, of course kicking Kizaru's leg, light speed kick that was trying to kill Zoro with, and of course we also see moments of them going at it with, of course, Rayleigh using his sword and Kizaru using his light sword. It was a really good toe-to-toe match, and Rayleigh's speed was looking really good. Rayleigh's physical power was looking really good against an Admiral, and of course Rayleigh was a little panting a little bit because he was kind of out of shape. But honestly, I think this like I said, guys, this Kizaru versus Rayleigh fight kind of confirmed him being Admiral level, in my opinion. Now later on, we see Rayleigh do some amazing things like swimming through the calm belt after his ship was wrecked, which was just an insane feat. Of course, he's defeating Sea Kings in the underwater, and then of course training Luffy in the foundations of Haki, Conqueror's Haki, Armored Haki, and Observation Haki. Rayleigh taught Luffy the basics for a year and a half. We even seen in the anime, Rayleigh was pretty much low diffing Gear 4th at the time. And of course, he kind of told Luffy about Future Sight. And Rayleigh telling Luffy about Future Sight means that Rayleigh probably has Future Sight. That's probably confirmed, but we just haven't got the actual confirmation, guys. So Rayleigh's Haki is kind of his go-to. And we already know Roger's captain was a Haki monster. Kaido confirms as Wano, and Haki transcends all. So I love how the Pirate King crew has some Haki monsters, because I think Scopper Gaban is a Haki monster as well. Like we've seen in Elbaf, what we've seen. I also want to talk about Rayleigh versus Marco during the, of course, Kozuki Oden flashback. I always thought we would see Rayleigh versus Kozuki Oden, or Rayleigh versus like someone of like insane level, maybe even a captain. But of course, Oda says no, I'm gonna give Rayleigh versus Marco. Marco was young these days. He wasn't like the Marco of Marineford, but Rayleigh pretty much low diffed Marco with one finger, with his Haki coated on that one finger. In my opinion, I don't care what age or what level Marco was, Rayleigh looked super cool doing that. And I think this is what really shows Oda saying Rayleigh is not your regular vice captain. He's the vice captain to the Pirate King's crew. That makes him, if there's any vice captain that could be a captain, it's Rayleigh. And lastly, post-timeskip. Rayleigh hasn't got that much shine post-timeskip, but I do want to mention when he went to Amazon Lily to save Boa Hancock. Boa Hancock was doing some amazing things, taking out Blackbeard's top commanders, Belt Molly, Wap Kobe, and then of course Blackbeard comes out of nowhere with his Yonko level power and stops Boa Hancock. And right before he's about to kill her, guess what happens? Rayleigh comes and saves Boa Hancock. He's a really strong character. Rayleigh's not saving a scrub, he's saving a really strong character. And of course, Blackbeard definitely, out of the fear of Rayleigh's reputation, in my opinion, Rayleigh in his prime was Yonko level, and Blackbeard knows this, didn't want to risk fighting him. But Rayleigh admits later that Blackbeard at this time would beat him. This to me was the ultimate confirmation that Rayleigh is Admiral level and Blackbeard would beat you. And Blackbeard's Haki hasn't really been shown to like insane levels. We know he has strong armor Haki, and we know he can sense great Haki, but he's more of a Delphu master when it comes to the Gurgur no Mi and the Yami Yami no Mi. But yeah, Rayleigh saying this really made me think, okay, this guy has to be Admiral level for him to say a Yonko is guaranteed to beat him, because if he was Yonko level, there's always a chance, guys. Like how many times Luffy fought someone stronger and came out on top? There's always a chance. For him to say that really knows how his power lies after the Kizaru fight and other moments in the series when his old age. Now, Scopper Gaban, the first time I actually looked at Scopper Gaban as a monster, in my opinion, is when Scopper Gaban went up against Kozuki Oden in the flashback. It wasn't in the manga, guys, mind you, but it was in the anime. And Scopper Gaban was going at it head to head with Kozuki Oden. Now, do you guys know how strong Kozuki Oden is? This is the same guy who we all know he clashed with Whitebeard in a Conqueror's Haki clash. He took a divine departure that we saw what Shang's divine departure did to Kid and Killer. Well, no, Oden took a divine departure and got back up wanting to fight Roger again. And then of course, we also know that he almost killed Kaido, guys. If he wasn't distracted, he could have came out on top against that Kaido fight. In my opinion, Kaido was Yonko level at that time. So Kozuki Oden is a Yonko level character, and Scopper Gaban is going toe to toe with a Yonko level character. Now they were in their prime, but still, I want to say this makes Scopper Gaban look really good and on the same level as Rayleigh, in my opinion, just from off this anime only fight. Then of course there's Elbaf. When we get to Elbaf, we see Luffy going head to head with Scopper Gaban, and Luffy's getting destroyed in his base form. Now Luffy's base form is not a scrub, guys. We've seen Luffy's base form go up against Kaido for a little bit, guys. So of course, Luffy's base form is pretty strong, but no, Scopper Gaban with that key and that Haki that was leaking off the key was doing some amazing things against Luffy. And of course, this triggered Luffy to, of course, going after Zoro, of course, blocked some of Scopper Gaban's attacks. And Luffy had to go Gear 5 after this. He's like, okay, I'm not playing around anymore. And Zoro had Conqueror's Haki coating leaking off his sword, his 3 swords. That's when Scopper Gaban said, yeah, I don't want to fight anymore. Now people are theorizing he did Future Sight and thought he was about to lose. But let's be honest here, a Yonko level character in Luffy and a vice captain to a Yonko in Zoro versus Scopper Gaban is not fair. Scopper Gaban should not win in that battle, guys. Put some respect on Luffy and Zoro's name. But this to me really showed that Scopper Gaban is not a scrub. Like there hasn't been a scrub moment from him. And the fact that Oda didn't let Scopper Gaban lose to Luffy and Zoro shows the respect he has for the legendary Scopper Gaban. Then of course, probably the greatest moment of Scopper Gaban's career so far in the One Piece story that we have seen is when it goes against Summers. Summers to me looks to be the strongest Holy Knight other than Shamrock that we have seen so far. Killiam looks pretty cool and impressive, and his DC is insane with those monsters. Gunko, of course, it looks pretty cool with the arrow powers, but honestly, Summers looks to be the top one of those 3, and Scopper Gaban pretty much handled them with relative ease. The regeneration power wasn't working. He was using some sort of special Haki. It looked like Conqueror's Haki coding. Honestly, this to me made Scopper Gaban look a little bit stronger than what we've seen from Rayleigh. Now, of course, Rayleigh could be holding back, but still, this was probably Scopper Gaban's greatest feat. Now, of course, the opponent wasn't like Kizaru level or Blackbeard level like Rayleigh has, of course, seen, but still, it's what he's doing is the regeneration thing that's been such a problem since Egghead Island with the Gorosei and the Holy Knights, and Scopper Gaban being able to bypass that really is an eye change. It's a game changer, guys. Now, of course, later on, Scopper Gaban, of course, does some cool stuff later against Gunko when he does Future Sight, seeing that Gunko is about to kill his kid Colin, and then takes the L to Gunko. In my opinion, this is actually a feat for Scopper Gaban, because that means Future Sight in a fair battle where there's no distraction, because he had the Kozuki Oden treatment with Momonosuke. If that didn't happen, first of all, Scopper Gaban is destroying Gunko, and Scopper Gaban with his Future Sight and his Kankosaki coding and his axe, he's one of the strongest characters on Elbaf. He might be around the same level. I'm not gonna say, I still believe Luffy and Loki are stronger than Scopper Gaban, but he's not that far off with his Haki being that powerful, guys. And I would say Scopper Gaban is actually stronger than Zoro with that, like what he's been showing, the Future Sight and the Kankosaki coding. That is insane. You guys can't downplay that. Of course, Zoro is in his prime, so he could have the better stamina, but definitely gotta say his power output that he's been showing so far has been amazing. Now, of course, we've also seen moments in the series, like little detail moments of Scopper Gaban being a monster, like him telling Roger to relax, and he's not gonna have to go against Roxy Zebek. Pretty much, Scopper Gaban is telling Roger during God Valley that you don't get dibs, yo. We can go against any strong top tier character we want. Just because you're a captain, we're not gonna let you go against someone that we want to fight. That is cool by Scopper Gaban. Then, of course, I talked about he has Future Sight, he has Kankosaki coding, his Haki leaking up the key against Luffy, and him sensing a great amount of power and Haki throughout Elbaf. Yes, honestly, him also saving Roger, being called the Mountain Eater because he saved Roger in that epic moment. And the giant, of course, he impregnated a giant on Elbaf, and the lore he has on Elbaf, the respect he has on Elbaf is insane. Honestly, I think it's his lore right now is looking a little bit better than Rayleigh. Rayleigh hasn't really shown it though, so it could easily surpass Scopper Gaban. But right now, what we're seeing is Scopper Gaban is a legendary character. Now, after glazing Scopper Gaban, which you guys are gonna say in the comments, I'm glazing this guy. Let me keep it real, guys. Scopper Gaban, I still think Rayleigh's stronger than the guy. Like, honestly, because I believe Zoro is stronger than Sanji. Not by much, but I think there's a little bit of a gap. And honestly, the parallels are there. And this last chapter did not help the people who don't believe in parallels, because that was a big parallel, him debating he's number 2 and not 3 when someone else is saying he's 3. Now, I do think this helps Sanji's future when it comes to Sanji going to be really close to Zoro at the end of the story, which I've always said they're going to be neck and neck. Some people think it's a very huge gap. No, I think it's a very little gap. It's like a very minor gap. It's still extreme diff for their fighting, guys. But I still think Rayleigh, just because of this, Rayleigh probably is going to be stronger than Gaban when they showcase their full power. But I must admit, when it comes to feats, Rayleigh is more so hope because he has that Dark King moniker, where Scopper Gaban is actually feats, and he's shown me he has stronger abilities, like with the Future Sight, with the Kankosaki coding. But the thing is, he hasn't fought an Admiral and a Yonko like Rayleigh. I know people are going to say, what about Luffy? What about Zoro? They're like Yonko and Admiral level. But no, I'm talking about actually fighting them, like, of course, Rayleigh was willing to do against Kizaru and Blackbeard. Because Scopper Gaban didn't want the smoke. I think he would have fought Luffy if it was just by himself, and he would have fought Zoro just by himself. But two of them, he knew it was too much to handle. Now, I must admit, guys, when it comes to Scopper Gaban versus Rayleigh, I gotta keep it real. Me saying Rayleigh is stronger than Scopper Gaban is mostly off of parallels and storytelling and Rayleigh's hype. But right now, if that was off of feats and you guys were forced me to pick, I might have to go with Scopper Gaban, guys, if I was being forced to pick. But of course, me being optimistic, I think Rayleigh's gonna show some crazy stuff sooner or later. Now, there is a catch. What if Scopper Gaban got stronger after the Roger Pirates expanded? What if Elbaf has made him so strong and that's why he's doing legendary stuff in Elbaf? That is a possible scenario, but right now I think Rayleigh is still stronger, and I gotta keep it real. I can't bullshit you guys. I just got to be fair. I have to be fair when it comes to gauging their powers and when it comes to showing all what they can do. But at the end of the day, you guys know I have to keep it real on what I believe, and I truly believe Rayleigh is still stronger than Scopper Gaban. But if you disagree, put it in the comment section. And if you guys like these videos, guys, you gotta support them, because the theory videos are getting way more love than these power scaling videos. So I might have to stop this series if you guys don't support it. So I want 500 likes on this video. If I don't get it, I'm done doing these videos, guys. I'm not bullshit. I'm done doing them. I'm just gonna stick to these theory videos you guys enjoy.